The grand chandelier sparkled in the morning light, scattering diamonds of sunshine across the marble floor. The entrance hall of Lancaster Manor always looked like something from a royal palace, vast, echoing, and breathtaking. The walls held paintings worth more than most people's lifetime earnings, and every detail, from the velvet curtains to the gold-trimmed vases, whispered wealth and prestige. But to Maria, it was simply her workplace. Maria Alvarez, in her mid-40s, wore a simple blue cleaning uniform. Her hair, streaked with silver, was tied neatly in a bun. Her hands were rough from years of scrubbing floors, washing windows, and carrying buckets. Her life was far removed from the glamour that surrounded her every day. She wasn't bitter, she had learned long ago that envy was a burden too heavy for a poor woman to carry. She arrived early that morning, as she always did, slipping quietly through the servants' entrance. The head housekeeper had given her today's list. Polish the floors, dust the staircase, and clean the windows in the front hall. She moved with quiet efficiency, the rhythm of work familiar and oddly comforting. It was when she was polishing near the double doors that she heard it, a muffled sound, almost like someone trying not to cry. Maria looked up and saw a boy sitting on the marble floor, knees pulled up to his chest, small hands clenched around a toy car. His dark hair was slightly messy, and his expensive clothes were wrinkled. He couldn't have been older than 6. She knew him. This was Oliver Lancaster, the only son of the estate's owner, Mr. Charles Lancaster, a man whose name appeared in financial magazines and whose face was often seen on news channels discussing mergers and investments. Maria had never spoken to the boy before. Staff were not encouraged to socialize with the family unless spoken to first. But the boy's red eyes and trembling lips stirred something deep in her heart. Maria knelt beside her cleaning cart, careful to keep a respectful distance. "Are you all right, niño?" she asked gently, slipping into the Spanish word for child out of habit. Oliver sniffled but didn't answer. His small shoulders shook. Maria's heart ached. She had raised 2 children of her own, both now grown and working far away. She recognized the silent distress of a child trying to hold in tears. Ignoring him wasn't an option. Her eyes fell on the small bottle of dish soap in her cart. And then she remembered, the little bubble wand she always kept in her apron pocket. She had started carrying it years ago, when her daughter was young, because nothing could brighten a child's mood faster than a stream of floating bubbles. Without a word, she dipped the wand into a small cup of soapy water, lifted it to her lips, and blew. A perfect, shimmering bubble floated into the air. Oliver blinked. Another bubble followed, then another, until a small galaxy of transparent orbs drifted around them, catching the sunlight and flashing colors, blue, gold, pink. For the first time that morning, Oliver's lips twitched into a tiny smile. He reached out a hand, swiping at a bubble and laughing softly when it popped. Maria blew another stream, this time letting the bubbles drift toward him deliberately. He giggled, a light, pure sound that warmed the air. Soon, his earlier sadness seemed to dissolve in the sparkle of soap and light. Neither of them knew that high above, on the second-floor balcony, a pair of eyes was watching. Charles Lancaster stood silently, one hand resting on the railing. He had been on his way to his study when he noticed his son in the hall. At first, he felt the familiar frustration. Oliver had been increasingly withdrawn since his mother's passing a year ago, and no amount of expensive toys or therapists seemed to help. But now, his son was smiling. And the reason was not a high-priced counselor or a luxury gift. It was the cleaning lady.